Hey, what's up? Like, totally time for 90210.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the 90210 show. My name is Mark. With me as always is my girlfriend Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is, guess what, February 14th.
Happy Valentine's Day.
1997. And we've got a good 90210 show here. Very Valentine's appropriate, I think.
I don't know. It's kind of like the opposite of Valentine's Day.
It's St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Right.
Everyone's love is falling apart.
It is very falling apart. Like this whole episode.
It is very falling apart. You're right.
I mean, it's just insanity. Like, everything's unraveling. The world is turning upside down.
It's like the English band after the Battle of Cornwallis.
What?
The English played the after the Battle of Cornwallis. Battle of Cornwallis.
What in the fuck is happening?
After the Battle of Yorktown, General Cornwallis ordered the British band to play The World Turned Upside Down because it was like, we fucking lost.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It was a stretch and an inaccurate quoting of the battle and mixing it up with the general's name. But either way, it was hilarious.
Sure it was, babe.
Well, it's your favorite little monsters come to talk about this 90210 episode titled Little Monsters.
What a weird name for this episode.
Who do you think were the little monsters?
I think they're all little monsters. I think everyone in this episode is a little monster.
Huh. Yeah, you're kind of right. Everyone in this episode has at one time or another been an asshole.
Yeah.
And Steve wasn't even in this episode.
Yeah, that's true because, he's too nice now.
Yeah.
I think he walked past the screen at one point. That was about it.
No, he had one line.
Huh?
When Ariel walks in, by the way, everyone, Ariel, Carrie wore her, who fucked David.
Yeah, the reason that Donna and David broke up.
She's back. And when he walks by, he looks at David and says, "Where's my paramour going?" And that is his only line in the entire episode.
Okay. That was kind of jerkish too, honestly.
Yeah, a little bit. But, did he not recognize her? Did he not know her? I don't understand.
I don't know.
She is attractive. Carrie wore her.
Sure, but she's not that attractive to ruin people's lives over.
Is Ray that attractive? Because let me tell you something. Carrie wore her, wants him, and obviously Donna wants him. And then, I almost called her Kelly. And then Valerie, looking hot as shit. I mean, just completely fine in this leather outfit.
She just looked very good.
Comes up to him and she's like, "Oh, I think she's got an eye for you, Ray. But don't we all?" And then she walks away.
I don't know that she really would want him, though.
She certainly seems like it. She's looking for her next father figure. I guess.
I don't know.
Notice she's going after all the older-looking guys.
That's true. Oh, my God. Something happened to Luke Perry between, last episode and this episode. Did they film in Mexico and, then he, fell into some kind of,
a vat of acid?
Some kind of aging magical pond. They talk about the fountain of youth.
Fountain of youth. The fountain of aging.
Exactly.
Ponce de Leon found.
The little girl, she fell into it and grew into herself. He fell into it and looks 10 years older now.
He does look older. I don't get it.
Maybe just because he got too much sun?
Yeah, possibly. He's also got a little bit of a beard situation going.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, though.
He doesn't look good with facial hair.
I mean, it's okay, but...
There are certain people that just can't pull facial hair off.
Yeah.
Like Troy Aikman.
Who's that?
Quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. Sure.
So, number 8.
You know who else can't pull off facial hair?
Who?
Brandon Can you picture him with facial hair?
He tried to. Remember, the first episode of this season, he had a goatee.
It was awful, yeah.
He shaved it off after the first episode. They saw the screen test of it, and the director was like, shave that fucking thing off.
Right?
So, I guess we should get into the episode.
I guess so. So, we start off, I think, with the Peach Pit After Dark stuff.
Peach Pit After Dark.
It's just called After Dark now.
After Dark.
What the fuck?
That's what it would be if they had commercials. It wouldn't be anyone. There you wouldn't see anyone. It would just be a close up of a pair of red lips going After Dark.
Okay. Are you planning on going into marketing? 'Cause
I'm saying that's what it would be.
Might look for a different career.
I didn't say that was a good ad. I'm saying that's what this ad would be.
Okay.
Because that's what these cheesy ads are.
Okay.
God, never miss a chance to be petty towards me.
You know I'd love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
So, Ariel
Winter.
shows back up. The fucking bitch who slept with
what?
David.
She slept with a dildo? She slept with
David.
The only thing I could think of this entire episode, every time she was on screen, was she got crabs.
Right?
All I was imagining was those little mites crawling around her body.
She gave him crabs because she cheated him. She's a giant whore.
Oh, for sure.
And she asks for an introduction to Ray, who is the headliner of the fucking After Dark Club, which makes no fucking sense.
We've never heard Ray play anything.
Right. Also, I don't know that their little club should be getting enough attention that they're, getting him noticed either.
Right.
The whole thing's weird.
It is. The whole thing is weird. You're correct.
But she shows up and asks Claire, who's like the only person who doesn't know what happened, for an introduction.
But David's standing right there. And
true.
As Claire takes him back, he's like, well, Donna's not going to be happy about this. And then he tugs on his tie. But it's like, why don't you say something to Ray? Why don't you like, hey, guess what? I was dating Donna and she fucked me.
But I mean, like, that doesn't necessarily mean anything for him.
No, but he should have, before he gets in too deep with her, no pun intended, he should clue him into the fact that Donna's probably not going to be happy about this situation.
Yeah.
Because that is his girlfriend.
True.
What she thinks should matter.
True.
Even though apparently
it does not. Yeah, because when she finds out, she tells him, and she shouldn't do this either, though. She's like, I want you to give the boots back, because she bought him boots. She took him to the fucking mall. That's so weird.
She bought him cute boots.
Right? And she's like, I want you to give the boots back. He's like, but she buys presents for all her clients. It's her job.
I don't want you to hang around with her. I don't want you signing with this label. She gets very, very possessive.
Yeah, very bossy and possessive.
He was like, fuck that.
Yeah. He was just like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Which, you can't really blame him for that, but he said...
Yeah, he said...
that he is the priority right now.
Well, she said... why don't you think about me or something like that? And he goes, this isn't about you, it's about me, and that's my priority right now. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So, I mean, like, at one point when Donna and Ariel finally talk to each other, Ariel's like, he's not going to leave me for you, but you better watch out for that ego of his.
Right, he's going to masturbate in a mirror. And that's what's going to be his love.
I think she's right, though, that he might run into problems because that's not a good attitude to have.
Well, agreed, but they also offered him a shitty deal.
Yes.
Because they do offer him a deal at the end of the episode, a 2-album deal, which is amazing for someone that has not recorded an album yet. They have no idea, completely untested. And to be like, we'll give you 2. Even if your first one sucks, we'll push out another album. That's amazing. However, we will give you a signing bonus, but we want 100% of the rights to your music. I assume that means in perpetuity. I mean, I could even see something like for a period of 7 years, or a period of 10 years even, maybe something like that. And then some sort of rights reversal, where the rights to his music go back to him 100%, or they get some kind of split or something like that. That would be a better deal. But even though he has no agent there, and I have no idea why, if he's big enough where people are, like A&R reps are coming out to sign him and bring him to these places, he should have a lawyer or an agent, someone versed in contract law there,
right,
to go over this stuff. And because it's not like the music industry's ever fucked over an artist,
right?
And he's smart enough to be like, no, I'm not doing that. She's like, all these people do it. And he's like, did they write and record their own music? Because I do.
Yeah, luckily he's not, some moony, star-eyed kid like David was, because, I think they were going to take advantage of him too.
Absolutely.
So,
but take a lesson from the Beatles and don't sell your song catalog.
Right?
Because now Michael Jackson owns it.
Ugh. So that's where we're at with him. Donna was very upset. It seemed like they're, not getting along, but by the end of the episode, I think they're okay again.
Well, they're okay again because he turns down the deal.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, thank you for turning down the deal. Did you do it for me? And he's like, no, I did it because it was a bad deal.
Yeah.
She's like, well, whatever. I liked it anyway.
So we'll see what happens there. And then you said that you thought her and David might be getting back together there.
Well, because David tries to talk to him and about the whole situation, and Ray's very much like, fuck off. He's like, you did this to her. I'm not going to do this to her. I don't need your advice. And like I said, he could have just been like, yeah, thanks. I'll take that under advisement, and walked away, because that is technically his boss.
Why do you say that?
Because he runs the Peach Pit After Dark with Claire. Those two run it, and it's bankrolled by fucking Steve's dad.
Yeah.
Rush Sanders. And Nat. So I guess Nat and Rush are technically the bosses, but they're the bosses because they run the day-to-day operations.
They're like the managers.
They're the ones that said, Ray, you can have the headline spot.
Yeah. Okay.
Do they even go to school anymore?
I don't know.
I never see them in class, those two.
Probably not.
It's like all they're doing.
They don't seem like the kind of kids that are going to buckle down and get a degree.
So, anyway, David comes and tells her, hey, I said something to him. And she was like, oh, thanks. You didn't have to do that. And she gives him this real doughy-eyed, like, kind of... I think there are seeds. This is breaking up, cheating. Everything is happening in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
And I think those are the seeds of that relationship imploding.
Okay.
And something else will happen. Valerie will fuck Ray or whatever.
Maybe.
She won't lose him to Ariel. She'll lose him to Valerie.
I doubt it, though. So, speaking of Valerie
has to continue her quest to fuck every man in the cast, though.
True. But she goes to Dylan, and
we get lots of clunky exposition here.
What do you mean?
They sit down, and he's like, hey, thanks for picking me up. And she's like,
yeah.
How was the Aloha States? Hanging out. He was like, well, hanging out with Iris and what's her name, Erica. And, I'm not the parenting type, so I figured if they got along and they hit it off, so they're going to... So it's like, let us tell you what... We're not going to show it, but let us tell you what happened to Erica.
Right.
She got left with the first wife
yes.
of her dad. So
yeah, that's weird.
In Iris's case, it's like, hey, Mom, your ex-husband, well, he fucked someone else, and this is the result, so why don't you take care of this?
I was thinking that she was just like her grandma. It didn't even occur to me.
No.
Wow.
No.
But Iris...
Surrogate mother.
Iris is fine. She's so like new agey and chill. Like, I don't think it'll bother her. Yeah,
they'll end up doing some kind of ritual. She'll call the Cthulhu demons that pre-aged this girl's face out of her. And the next time we see her, she'll look like that one from Party of Five or whatever, that Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Sure.
Or the other one, Neve Campbell. Neve Campbell?
Neve Campbell.
From Scream.
Yeah. I think you could pronounce her name at this point. Like, we've seen her in Craft. We've seen her in Party of Five. We've seen her in Scream. Like, learn her damn name, man.
You know what I haven't thought of in a long time?
Huh?
My so-called life.
Oh, God. Okay.
Anyway. So we get exposition, and then
Valerie asks for money.
She's like, hey, know how I risked my fucking life?
And virtue.
And Jonesy got $4 million for it. Now, granted, he found them. He came up with the plan. He ended up saving their ass. I'm not saying she deserves an equal cut.
No, for sure.
To what Jonesy got. But she says, hey, what do you think? A little taste for me.
And she... Okay, so
Dylan
then they...
says, yeah.
Yeah, and then they fuck.
Right.
And then... He gives her... Was that her coat or his coat?
It was her coat.
So she says she's cold, and he's like, well, here's a coat.
What happens is they cut and whatever fade in to her pulling up her jeans.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm cold, and I have a breeze between my legs for some reason. It's a little wet down here.
Ew.
And he says, why don't you put your coat on? Which seemed to me like, he said your coat, which seemed to me like it was a subtle way of him being like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
And she put the coat on and talked about how she needs new clothes. And she's like, hey, you want to help with that? The money we talked about?
And so she asks him to write her a check before she leaves. And he does.
Yes.
And then her face falls.
Right.
Because it's only $10,000.
Now, $10,000 is a lot of money. And I don't want to say that it's not a lot of money, but we're dealing with an $8 million purse that Jonesy and Dylan split. So that's $4 million apiece.
Right.
And he's giving her $10,000, and they could have done this without her.
Right.
She had a very integral part in this. She had a gun held on her. Apparently, she got tortured or something.
Right. Yeah, they talked about her pain threshold.
So, I mean, she could have died. I think it's worth more than $10,000.
I agree. I think that was a really low number. Like I said, I think $100,000 would have been more appropriate.
Yes. And then Dylan was really shitty about it.
Oh, my God.
Because she was like, is this like a first installment? Or is this a pussy on layaway program? Or
Oh, he also kind of insinuated that she's acting like a whore.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, this would look bad under, different circumstances.
Right.
And then he says, the services rendered are paid for. Take it or leave it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he was just really mean to her.
Yes. He's always really mean to her. I don't know why she keeps fucking him.
He's an asshole.
Like, stop fucking him, Valerie. Have some self-respect.
Yeah, I wish she would. Later, she kind of tells him off. Because she goes to see Jonesy. Yeah,
that seemed like a mistake. It seemed like...
I think that's going to get her in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because she comes to Jonesy, and Jonesy's like, let's play fucking charades.
Yeah, and he charades to her, sleep with me.
Right. He says it's a movie.
How douchey.
He says it's a movie. Like, does that mean he wants to film it?
Maybe.
But she says, no, I'm not going to sleep with you, Jonesy, because you look like a reject from a Magnum PI inspired beer ad.
She does not go that far, but she does say she's not going to sleep with him.
He's like the sidekick on a teen becomes a superhero show.
He's ugly. Flat out. He just is. Yes.
But so she says no. And he's like, well, I got some cash right here. And he busts open a fucking silver suitcase. Like, I don't know, where do these silver suitcases get sold? I've never seen a silver suitcase in a store in my entire life, but every bundle of money I've ever seen in a movie or TV show is in a silver suitcase.
I think we need to be richer and shop in richer stores to find that.
Does anybody use a duffel bag?
Only people for paying ransoms.
If I saw a silver suitcase, someone walking with a silver suitcase down the street, I would 100% tackle him and take that silver suitcase.
And then you'd find out that all was inside was like candy or something, and you'd end up in jail.
What psychopath is walking around with a suitcase full of candy?
Maybe they're selling it, like in A Walk in the Clouds. He walked around with a suitcase of candy.
Oh, my God. The only person walking around with a suitcase full of candy is someone that also has a white van.
Right. Okay. But, so Jonesy gives her a stack of cash.
I believe it's another $10,000. That's what it looks like.
It might be more.
Maybe.
She said he had more on her than Dylan.
Maybe it was 20,000.
And she used it to buy a car. So, a nice car.
Yeah, that was a nice car.
But yeah, he says the only condition he'll give her the money under is if she'll work with him again.
Yeah, and have a drink.
And yeah.
I thought it was going to be spiked.
Well, she thought he was going to say sleep with me again, but
right.
He didn't do that at least.
Yeah, he knows better.
So, Valerie is going to...
I think Valerie's going to get in trouble.
She's going to help this FBI dude. So, yeah, she's going to end up in another situation.
Right. She's going to end up getting shot or something, and then Dylan's going to feel like shit.
Why do you do that?
Because he looks like Brandon now with that facial hair.
He does not. He doesn't look anything like him.
He's not as attractive.
He looks like Brandon's grandpa. Like, I don't know what happened to him. It's bad. He
doesn't look that old.
He looks a lot older than he did last episode.
Maybe you've just matured since last episode.
Okay.
Or no, maybe you've devolved.
Maybe.
Maybe you're just younger now.
I am less mature.
Anyway, yeah, you haven't evolved like you're one of those fucking externs. You've devolved. But what else is going on in this episode before we get to fucking the main storyline of this insanity?
Okay, Andrea.
Oh God, yes. Let's talk about this.
So again, Hannah is sick. What's going on with that?
Yeah,
I mean,
is she just doing this so she can see Peter? Like,
right, Munchausen syndrome.
Is she just injecting Hannah with? She's going around picking up old Kleenex and just rubbing it in Hannah's face.
When Hannah drops her pacifier in the mall, she just pops it back in her mouth.
What the fuck is going on with this kid?
So, yeah, she's sick again. Jesse's going out of town to interview for some different assignments that he might get.
It's some sort of something associated with his law degree that he's working towards.
And
I think it's an internship.
And depending on how it goes, it sounds like they might have to move.
Right.
And she doesn't want to move, so this is going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah. And he might as well have wrapped a bow around her vagina. Because he's just like, well, if you're, why don't you call that friend of yours, Peter? He seems like such a stand-up guy.
Yeah, she's like worried about Hannah, and he's like, oh, just call the intern.
Right.
So she calls the intern.
Student. He's a student.
Whatever. Student doctor. And you think that he's going to come over to the house and see Hannah, but he's not seeing Hannah. She leaves her sick baby with a babysitter to go meet him. To
drink coffee.
What the fuck,
in a
Andrea?
Sweater that I own. He's wearing a sweater I own.
He is, yes. What the fuck, Andrea? I'm so disappointed in her as a person.
Well, and there's heavy flirting. And she's like, oh, my pulse is racing. And he's like, oh, let me feel. And he grabs her wrist or whatever and feels it. And she's like, he said, oh, I should take you to the, I don't know, the emergency room or whatever. And she's like, you can do whatever you want with me. And then they kiss.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
His wife is also out of town, by the way.
Well, we don't know his wife, so we don't give a fuck about her.
I'm just saying. It's like all the pieces fell into place for them.
We know, yeah, it's the angels orchestrating things again. Steve's not this episode. We can do bad stuff.
So do you think her and Jesse are going to break up? Do you think she's going to end up with this med student dude?
I would assume so, yeah. Well, one of two things is going to happen. Either she's going to... So I think the most likely scenario, and listeners who are farther along, because remember, we're 2 years behind in the show.
Right.
Listeners who are farther along might know, but don't spoil it for us, because we're not spoiling it for ourselves. But I think the most likely scenario that's going to happen is he's going to get this internship, and he's going to say, we need to move to whatever, Santa Monica or fucking San Francisco or wherever it is. And she's going to say, why don't you go to San Francisco and me and Hannah will stay here. I can still go to school like I need to. My friends are here. We'll see each other on the weekends. And then she's going to start a long-term affair with this Peter dude.
Ooh. Do you think she's really morally compromised enough for that?
Yes.
Wow.
I think that I think it's true to her character as written on the show? Probably not. But I mean, maybe, I don't know. She seems very disillusioned with being a mom and being married. I think this is all too much too soon. And I just think she's I think it's somewhat type A personalities that are really like tightly spun like she is. Mm-hmm. I think they can come loose like this.
Well, I guess she has come loose. And she is now spinning out of control.
Right.
So, yeah, Andrea and the med student, that is happening. Do you think they're going to fuck now? Like, do you think that's going to have happened?
I think they're doing it right now in episode, in episode timeline.
Right.
As we bridge from the episode we just finished to the episode that we're going to watch next, they're doing it right now.
Okay.
Just in perpetuity till we watch the next episode.
And then the other thing that's going on, I think the main story, as you put it.
Well, real quick, before we get there, Dylan does go to see Jim. And he's like, hey, you know how I'm not fucking your daughter anymore? Well, I think we could be friends again. And he's like, I need you to be my business manager and manage my money. And we need you in the story like a little bit every once in a while. So this is a thing for you to do.
Right.
And he was like, okay. Well, actually, he said he'd think about it, but...
He's going to do it.
Yeah, of course he is.
And James Eckhouse was directing this episode.
Right, so, I mean, obviously he had no business in writing it, but still. He gets to direct himself actually having a part. So that's good.
You know what I think it is, why Dylan looks so much older, is because he's wearing like a suit and tie and trying to act like a presentable person.
You know what else happens? We almost glossed over this before we get to the fucking just debacle that is the main storyline to this episode.
What?
He has dinner with the Walshes.
Yes.
While Valerie's not there. And Cindy says, not to pry, but we've noticed that you've been hanging around with Valerie a little bit.
Oh,
And he says, oh, yeah, a little bit. And she goes, do you think there's anything that, we have to worry about with her? And he says...
You know how Brenda was a handful? Well, she's a bigger package with a real bright bow. Or with a brighter bow.
What does that mean?
I mean, I get the bigger package, meaning she's more of a handful.
She's got a bigger package. She's a bigger cock.
What the fuck with the brighter bow? That just seems like he's putting Brenda down. I did not like it.
It does. If they might as well have looked right at the camera and said, hey, Shannon Doherty. And then just everyone gave her the finger.
Right?
Because, that was very... I mean, she's more attractive than Shannon Doherty. Sorry, Shannon Doherty. It's true.
Only minimally, though.
Oh, no. Okay. No, you're incorrect. Very, like a lot. Okay. Magnitudes of more attractive than she is. And she's got a body type that is not my body type. But she's very attractive.
What? She's all curvy? She's got curves?
She's got some curves, yes. But a lot of that is wardrobe, honey.
All right.
I think, anyway.
Whatever.
I think clothes off. And prove me wrong.
Okay, let's find some pictures.
Prove me wrong, Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Why don't you pose completely naked, front and back, and just prove me wrong?
I'm sure no matter what, you would enjoy those pictures.
Anyway, so it's a real big slap in the face.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's talking to her parents. Like, you'd think they would not like that.
Right? It's like, yeah, your daughter is a little more tame and a big dog compared to her. What the fuck?
And
how do you have the balls to say that to someone's face?
Right. And he told them that she has $10,000. Like, that's none of their business.
Right.
What the fuck?
I don't know what she's going to do now. She's going to go live in her car that she just bought. By the way, real smart investment, Valerie.
Yeah, she spent $1,000 on an outfit, and then bought a car
to go impress Jonesy. It was an investment.
So she's only got probably $900 left.
Yeah, I don't know, but
because she bought a car and an outfit, and she's down to less than $1,000.
Well, how much did he give her? Because Dylan says, "Oh, I see what you did. You got a $10,000 lease."
Lease, yeah.
And she's like, "No, I own this fucking car."
Yeah, and then she's like, "Jonesy was better than you." So yeah, I mean, that's got to be an expensive car.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is it for that, and then now we got to deal with Kelly and the professor and Brandon.
Oh my goodness. Kelly is blowing Brandon off hard fucking core.
And I think she's blowing the professor off.
I think that he really wants her to.
If he can feel it, I don't know. He's in that wheelchair.
I mean, I have to assume that he can still have sex. Because why else would he be so into her?
I don't know. Maybe he just wants to do mouth stuff.
Maybe. But, I mean, like, they run into each other in the hall, and Brandon's like, what do I got to do to get 10 minutes with her?
And he says nothing and rolls away with her in tow.
Yeah, and she's just like, we're really busy, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's a total bitch to him for most of the episode.
Yeah. And so I think mostly to get in her good graces, although Andrea seemed to think it was for political reasons.
Right, which may be both.
He starts backing this guy because, he was being investigated or whatever, and the faculty was going to be voting on whether or not to give him tenure.
Yeah, and if they don't give him tenure, apparently he's getting fired.
Right. So he's backing him.
He writes an editorial that says, like, in defense of this cult.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right. And so he's trying to use that to make up with Kelly because I don't know what the fuck's going on with her. Like, she just wants nothing to do with them.
Yeah, by the way, she's at the beginning, she's doing a phone tree.
Oh, yeah.
In the apartment, and everyone's on the phone and stuff. But it's like a phone tree is you call someone and then they call people. And I mean, like, if you're calling everyone, you're the trunk.
Right. Well, she had a bunch of people in the house making these calls, and poor Donna couldn't even use the fucking phone. Like, They lived together.
Donna got rear-ended.
Rude.
Not in the fun way. By some pizza delivery dude. And not in the fun way. Not in the pornographic way.
Okay.
Pizza delivery. In a car, because she didn't run a red light. And the pizza delivery guy was apparently mad at her. It was just a stupid little bit of business for her character to have.
Okay.
What? Sorry.
You're so weird.
I thought people would want to know that.
You're so weird. Okay. So Kelly finds out that Brandon did this thing, and she's all like, oh, you're great again. And he brings her flowers, and, it seems like everything's all good.
He wisely doesn't tell her. He waits for her to find out on her own about the article.
Oh, yeah.
She brings it in, and she's like, and then he says, he says something. I don't remember what. Oh,
she says, I'm your girlfriend.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, can you say that louder? But he says, can we go out to the mountains or whatever? And she's like, I can't. I've got to be here for the professor. And she goes, is that why you wrote this? Just to get in my good graces?
Yeah. And then when they're, like, all out there, all these kids waiting to find out what's going to happen with this professor. Those
are the little monsters.
Maybe. Him and Kelly are talking together, and it seems like things are good, right? Mm-hmm. And then the douche wheels out and
douche wheel
tells everybody, that he's going to be leaving. But he can continue to teach, even not on the campus.
Right. And I was like, oh, yeah, in any kind of compound.
Yeah.
We can teach in Waco, Texas. We could teach in Ruby Ridge. We could teach in Guyana.
Yeah. So the cult thing is really, really happening.
Oh, yeah.
And Kelly says to Brandon, I must go to him, and walks away from him.
Like he's fucking Jesus.
Right? Like, or Dracula.
It's
like...
Seriously, she might as well just picked up a fly from the ground and started eating it. Renfield style.
Fucked up. He's like, I've got to get out of here. So she just takes him, like, leaves Brandon there.
Mm-hmm. Brandon's Brandon's got that contemplative look on his face the entire time where he's like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, something's not good. Something's not right.
But I could feel him thinking like, man, I'm really glad that I fucked the punk rock girl.
So Kelly's in this dude's office.
Emily Valentine. Yeah. Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Yeah. And he asks her to do something for him.
Oh, yeah.
To which she responds, anything.
Oh, I'll do anything.
I'll do anything.
2-hand, whatever you need.
And he says, I need you to break it off with Brandon.
He's an exert or whatever, extern, which is his little cult speak for people that aren't in his cult.
Did he say that part?
Yeah. He's like, we have to cut down on the negative influences, and we have to like shelter ourselves from our enemies. We've got to close ourselves off. We have to sever family ties. He doesn't say all this stuff, but this is all what he's talking about. This is all like cult 101 shit.
Right. Well, yeah, because I
need to control every aspect of your life, Kelly.
He gets the idea that Brandon might be able to, pull her out, pull her away, have some kind of influence.
He gets the idea that Brandon is not going to let him pull out.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He wants to be with Kelly, and Brandon's in the way.
But, I don't know. What do you think? Like, it seems
I think it's
pretty...
a cult, and I think it's going to... I think this story is going to culminate in it being a cult.
It seems pretty ballsy to just flat out say, break up with your boyfriend.
She'll do it.
You think so?
Oh, for sure. 100%. Because she's going to fall head over heels into this cult until something happens, and then she's like, oh, no, it's a cult. Oh, it's too late. I need to get help. And then she's going to write a letter and put it on the bathroom in a fucking airport. And then 9 months later,
right.
Someone's going to mail it and be like, hey, your friend might be dead.
And then Dylan will save her and they'll get together.
Right. Maybe that's what will happen. Maybe Dylan will come to her rescue instead of Brandon.
Well, because she's breaking up with Brandon, so Brandon will be like, fuck you.
Maybe.
Which she deserves.
I agree. She's awful. She is... if I was Jenny Garth, I would be in my trailer every day fucking cursing these writers.
Right?
I would be like, what are you doing to my character, you fucking monsters? They're the little monsters.
Yeah.
The writer's room. Jenny Garth had a retitle on this episode.
She's like the sweetest. Like her character was
like
the sweetest.
A really nice person.
No. I mean, Kelly. Like, she was a sweet character.
Yes.
And they just ruined her.
At first, they implied she was a whore who never slept with anyone, was just sweet apple pie, because that seems like what Jenny Garth probably is in real life. Right. And then they just... what they're doing with her character is just awful.
And her hair.
Oh, yeah, good.
I hate her hair.
Oh, good.
It's so short.
Grow that hair out.
It looks like a 80s mom hair.
You need enough to grab.
Wow.
I mean, grow that out, Jenny Garth.
So I guess next week we'll see how the cult's doing.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know how many weeks they're going to drag this on.
Yeah.
He might start giving his first sermon. He wants to create a new nation.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, for those of you unaware of the main show, listen to the main show. And actually go back 2 years to the main show and listen to Assalamu alaikum. Or back in... We published the best of 1995.
There you go.
You can find the best of 1995 tape, and it's on there somewhere. We talk about them.
So, I guess that's all. Everybody's all fucked up. Everything's weird, and I don't like it.
The whole show's in shambles.
Yes.
And now everything's got to be built back up.
So
seems like Ray and Donna are the only ones in a good place at the end of this episode. But like I said, seeds. I think the seeds of doubt are being poured in here.
We'll see.
All right. Well, that is the episode for the week, everybody. Carol, why don't you talk them out on this great Valentine's Day?
Go ahead and write us at latefee1994AOL.com.
Make us your Valentine and send us a Valentine note.
Check out our website, www.retrolatefee.com.
Not smear a box of candy on your computer.
Take the tape and give it to your friend.
Do it
as a Valentine's Day present. There you go.
Yes. Tell if you want to do one thing for the show. If you enjoyed, if you got any kind of chuckle out of this show, the best thing you could do for us is tell one friend, listen to this fucking show.
Yeah.
And that would be great for us. And happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.